Marriage is a sacred institution in Islam, but there are clear guidelines on whom a Muslim man can and cannot marry. Today, we'll explore the women who are permanently or temporarily forbidden for marriage in Islam, with references from the Quran and Hadith. According to the interpretation of the Quran,
prohibited to you for marriage are your mothers, daughters, sisters, father's sisters, mother's sisters, brothers' daughters, sisters' daughters, foster mothers who gave you suck, foster sisters, your wives' mothers, your stepdaughters under your guardianship, born of your wives to whom ye have gone in. No prohibition if ye have not gone in. Those who have been wives of your sons proceeding from your loins, and two sisters in wedlock at one and the same time, except for what is past. For Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful.
The Quran clearly lists close relatives a man cannot marry due to their blood relation. These include his mother and grandmothers, his daughters and granddaughters, his sisters full, half, or from the same father or mother, his aunts, both paternal and maternal, his nieces' daughters, of his brothers and sisters. Certain women become permanently forbidden due to marriage ties. These include his wife's mother, mother-in-law, his wife's daughter, stepdaughter, if he consummated the marriage with her mother, his father's wife, stepmother, his son's wife, daughter-in-law. Islam considers breastfeeding similar to blood relations in terms of marriage prohibition. A man cannot marry his foster mother, the woman who breastfed him at least 5 times before the age of 2, his foster sisters, other girls who were breastfed by the same woman. Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
"What is prohibited through blood relations is also prohibited through breastfeeding."
Some women are forbidden only under certain conditions, but can become lawful later. A man cannot marry a woman who is already married, only after her husband dies or divorces her and she completes her waiting period, according to the interpretation of the Quran.
Also prohibited are women already married, except those whom your right hands possess. Thus hath Allah ordained prohibitions against you. Except for these, all others are lawful, provided the seek them in marriage with gifts from your property, desiring chastity, not lust, seeing that ye derive benefit from them, give them their dowers at least as prescribed. But if, after a dower is prescribed, agree mutually to vary it, there is no blame on you, and Allah is all-knowing, all-wise.
If a woman is divorced or widowed, she must complete her waiting period before remarrying. According to the interpretation of the Quran,
divorced women shall wait concerning themselves for 3 monthly periods. Nor is it lawful for them to hide what Allah hath created in their wombs, if they have faith in Allah and the last day, and their husbands have the better right to take them back in that period, if they wish for reconciliation. And women shall have rights similar to the rights against them, according to what is equitable. But men have a degree of advantage over them. And Allah is exalted in power-wise. If any of you die and leave widows behind, they shall wait concerning themselves 4 months and 10 days. When they have fulfilled their term, there is no blame on you if they dispose of themselves in a just and reasonable manner. And Allah is well acquainted with what ye do.
A Muslim man cannot marry a woman who practices polytheism unless she converts to Islam, according to the interpretation of the Quran.
Do not marry unbelieving women idolaters until they believe. A slave woman who believes is better than an unbelieving woman, even though she allures you. Nor marry your girls to unbelievers until they believe. A man slave who believes is better than an unbeliever, even though he allures you. Unbelievers do but beckon you to the fire, but Allah beckons by His grace to the garden of bliss and forgiveness, and makes His signs clear to mankind, that they may celebrate His praise.
A man cannot marry 2 sisters at the same time. If one dies or is divorced, he may marry the other. A man cannot marry a woman and her aunt, father's or mother's sister, at the same time. Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
a man should not be married to a woman and her paternal or maternal aunt at the same time.
A man cannot marry a woman who is in a state of ihram, ritual purity during Hajj or Umrah. Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
"A man cannot marry a woman who is in ihram until she exits from it."
"If a man divorces his wife 3 times, she becomes permanently forbidden to him unless she marries another man, and that marriage ends naturally, not by arrangement, according to the interpretation of the Quran.
A divorce is only permissible twice. After that, the parties should either hold together on equitable terms or separate with kindness. It is not lawful for you, men, to take back any of your gifts from your wives, except when both parties fear that they would be unable to keep the limits ordained by Allah. If the judges do indeed fear that they would be unable to keep the limits ordained by Allah, there is no blame on either of them if she gives something for her freedom. These are the limits ordained by Allah. So do not transgress them. If any do transgress the limits ordained by Allah, such persons wrong themselves as well as others. So if a husband divorces his wife irrevocably, he cannot after that remarry her until after she has married another husband and he has divorced her. In that case, there is no blame on either of them if they reunite, provided they feel that they can keep the limits ordained by Allah. Such are the limits ordained by Allah, which He makes plain to those who understand.
If a man publicly accuses his wife of adultery and takes an oath lying against her, they must permanently separate, according to the interpretation of the Quran.
And for those who launch a charge against their spouses and have in support no evidence but their own, their solitary evidence can be received if they bear witness 4 times with an oath by Allah that they are solemnly telling the truth. And the 5th oath should be that they solemnly invoke the curse of Allah on themselves if they tell a lie. But it would avert the punishment from the wife if she bears witness 4 times with an oath by Allah that her husband is telling a lie. And the 5th oath should be that she solemnly invokes the wrath of Allah on herself if her accuser is telling the truth.
Islamic marriage laws are designed to protect family structures and uphold social morality. Understanding these restrictions ensures that marriage remains sacred and ethical. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. May Allah bless you all.